Hallo und willkommen zurück zu Let's Play Shinrai, Broken Beyond Despair. Und wir können uns jetzt hier endlich mal umschauen. Hier haben wir Besen und so, ne? A bucket and a broom are resting in the corner. You could say it's good that earlier in the darkness neither of us kicked the bucket. Ich kenne das Wort, also das ist jetzt scheinbar ein Wortspiel. Ich weiß aber nicht, was die Redewendung kick the bucket bedeuten soll. Anyway, doesn't look like my phone's hiding here, so time to move on. Dann ist hier noch ein, guck mal, wir können den gesamten Boden untersuchen. Hier ist ein Rohr. I could have imagined my phone sliding beneath this copper pipe, but it's nowhere to be found. It does have to be somewhere close to the entrance, though. I mean, it can't have slid that much further into the room, can it? Dann der Boden. Wherever my phone might be, it's certainly not lying in plain view. It's probably hiding in some obscure corner. I should still watch my step, though. Just in case. Vielleicht da unter dem Schrank, wo schon Spinnenweben drunter sind. Das ist echt eklig. Was ist das für ein roter Knopf? There's a piece of paper stuck to the wall and a button right below it. It's big, red and covered in a tiny glass panel inside a metal case with black and yellow warning stripes on it. Ach so, also damit kannst du dann die Raketen abschießen oder so, ne? It's the kind of button you're probably not supposed to press. What's this button for? No idea. Maybe that piece of paper tells us. Let's see. It's a bit hard to read due to the lack of light, but right on top it says for emergency use only in bold letters. Emergency use? Well, this is an emergency, right? Maybe we should press it then? Nein. I would advise against that. What? Ich wollte das nicht so. Why? Because this button apparently activates the resort's self-destruct mechanism. Ja klar, warum auch immer ein Hotel einen Selbstzerstörungsmechanismus haben sollte. Wait! If we press it, the whole place will blow up within 5 minutes. Aber vermutlich ist es das Einzige, was man jetzt sagen kann, um sie von dem Vorhaben abzubringen, da drauf zu drücken. Und sie ist doof genug, das zu glauben. You can't be serious! I'm just telling you what it's written here. It says there are about 900 tons of explosives stored below the basement. 900 tons? Sie kann das selber nicht lesen? I actually ain't got a clue what that means, but 900 is a big number. So it's probably gonna be a big bang, right? Who the heck would do that and why? Keine Ahnung, warum man das tun sollte. Like, why the hell would a resort like this even need a self-destruct mechanism? Wegen der ganzen Geister hier, damit man die mitvernichten kann. Well, actually this paper is signed by Rie, so... Hey! Of course she'd implement a self-destruct, sis! Okay, also es war eigentlich nur ein Scherz. That girl's really cray-cray! How silly of me to think that the obvious conclusion would have been to assume it was just another one of Rie's pranks. I'm pretty sure it's just a joke. Look here. There's a hole with some cracks around it in the wall behind this paper. It probably just hanging there to cover it up. That's a pretty big hole though. How did that get there? Don't ask me, but considering this paper was made by Rie, it might be her doing. That girl's really got too much strength. So like, what's that button for then? Want to find out? Nah. I actually ain't that curious. Ich würde es auch nicht einfach so versuchen. Let's just not push any big red buttons with one stripes, okay? Gut, eben warst du zwar noch diejenige, die das vorhatte, aber... Dann haben wir hier, was ist das? Wow! That's like the biggest speaker I've ever seen! Das ist doch kein Speaker, oder? That's not a speaker. It's a ventilation shaft. What? Why? Don't ask me. That's just the way it is. Damn fools! Why would you have a ventilation shaft if you could turn it into a giant speaker? Im Heizungskeller. Im Heizungskeller. Wo man fast nie drin ist. Wer will im Heizungskeller einen Lautsprecher haben? What a waste! Yeah. And here I was hoping I'd have a USB port so I could plug in my MP3 player and load up some chill LG raps. Well, it's already chill enough down here anyway. Boys, die ist so dumm. Some kind of black box is attached to the wall here. Due to the darkness and it hanging rather high up, it's impossible to make out any details on it, so I can't tell what exactly it is. Das heißt, da müssen wir dann vielleicht nochmal gucken, wenn das Licht an ist. Vielleicht sollten wir auch einfach das Licht anmachen, da, ne? That's the breaker box. I see. Looks kinda weird. Do you know how these things work? Well, I know how ours at home works, and I doubt this is going to be much different. Besides, Rie managed to operate it, so it can't be that hard. That was kinda mean. Naja, sie ist ja nicht da, ne? But I guess you're right. Außerdem ist Rie diejenige, die Happy mit E geschrieben hat. Curses. What's wrong? I can't get it open. It's jammed. Well, this is annoying. Wait a sec. If it's jammed, then how did Rie manage to use it earlier? Don't tell me there's a ghost behind this after all. Nonsense. It might be stuck, but that doesn't mean it's impossible to get it open. Besides, it's possible it worked fine earlier and Rie caused it to get stuck. Either intentionally or unintentionally. Well, Rie never could control his strength, so I can totally see her slamming it shut by accident. Why you think she'd do it intentionally, though? Uns zu beschäftigen. To stall for time, genau. The longer it takes to get us back, the more time she has to set up her surprise. Oh, I guess. Well, in any case, what do you wanna go? What are we gonna do now? Let's see. If I had something thin, I could try to squeeze it into the panel slit and simply pry it open. Like a knife or a flat-headed screwdriver, or anything of that kind. Yeah, think we could find something like that around here? Maybe. They seem to store a bunch of tools down here, so let's just take a look around. Alright. Ich habe gerade viel zu lange darüber nachdenken müssen, ob ich darauf eingehen wollte, dass sie etwas in einen Slit stecken wollte. Sorry. Curses, it's locked. Well, I doubt there's anything useful inside anyway. Then how about on top of it? There seems to be something lying there, but I'm not nearly tall enough to reach it. Then maybe down there? Nope. Nothing but dirt and cobwebs. Well, what a disappointment. Was ist das hier? Das ist die Heizung und so, ne? A bunch of very thin pipes connecting to little metal boxes are attached to the wall here. There are 3 circular gauges in the center, but they aren't labeled, so I can't tell what exactly they gauge. Acceleration, speed and fuel? No. Das ist kein Auto. Why not? Because this is a resort, not a racing car. Fine. Und am Ende, Plot Twist, stellt sich raus, dass dieses Resort die ganze Zeit über die Autobahn gefahren ist. Merkt euch meine Worte. Das wird der Plot Twist am Ende sein. Fine. Hier in der Kiste ist doch bestimmt was, ne? There's a wooden box sitting here, filled with a lot of old junk. Most of it seems to be broken boys' toys, like mechas and Mars Hero figures. Das ist ja jetzt wohl sexistisch zu sagen, dass das für Jungen ist, ne? Da können Mädchen genauso mitspielen. Die können auch mit Mecha spielen. Und mit Hero figures. They're all heavily damaged, some of them missing arms and legs, or even their heads. Poor figures. Someone was really going all out with them. Indeed. Must have been some pretty epic battles, though. I mean, look! That one's got a tiny sword stuck in its chest. Kinda brutal. I wonder who they belong to. Well, there's something written on the box in really bad handwriting. Property of the great Rie-Summer. Cook. Sag ich doch, das kann auch Mädchen gehören. There you have your answer. We never really changed much since she was a little kid, eh? Looks like it. Können wir im Fenster da nochmal rausgucken? The moon's bright beams are falling in through the window. Outside there isn't much to see apart from blades of grass and naked branches dancing in the wind beneath a clear starlit night sky. Ist doch schon schön, oder? It's actually a rather soothing sight. If only the air wasn't so incredibly cold. So, dann haben wir hier, glaube ich, alles gesehen, oder? Haben wir da hinten, da oben schon geguckt? Tubing system containing electrical wires is running across the ceiling and through the walls, distributing the electricity that's generated down here not only into every corner of this room, but throughout the entire building. Or at least it would, if the power wasn't switched off right now. Jo, dann gucken wir uns doch mal um, weil hier haben wir jetzt alles gesehen. Ah, guck mal, Gasolina. There's a lonely gas canister sitting below the window. Bara-chan's been eyeing it for a while now. That's a gas canister, ain't it? Yes, it is. Why is it here? You don't think someone's planning to set this place on fire? Du wärst wahrscheinlich im Moment die es am ehesten tun würde. What? Well, why else would there be a gas canister down here? I would assume it's needed for the incinerator in the back. Oh, I guess that makes sense. Still, that wouldn't stop anyone from using it to burn down the building, right? I guess not, but warum sollte das jemand tun? What was with her and constantly thinking about worst-case scenarios? So, dann haben wir hier... Ist da eine Spinne da unten? Ist da eine fette Spinne? Ich hasse Spinnen. Wow! Are those real hypersleep capsules? Wie kommst du darauf? What? You know those capsules they use to freeze people for long-distance space travel and stuff? Did you never watch any sci-fi movies? I did, and I know what hypersleep capsules are, but I think those are just some ordinary boilers. Wait! So people ain't getting frozen but boiled in there? Bist du irgendwie dumm? Come on, just kidding. But guess you're right. Still, if those were real hypersleep capsules, that'd be real neat. I mean, they ain't got no windows, so you wouldn't need worry about some alien parasite aciding its way through the glass and attaching itself to your face while you're sleeping. I should have thought about that. That movie gave us some of the worst nightmares ever. Well, there was one thing I had to admit after all this nonsense. Bara-chan's ability to worsen her own condition by continuously scaring herself with even more disturbing thoughts was certainly unparalleled. Aber es ist keine positive Eigenschaft. Das ist absolut hinderlich eigentlich. Und wir haben immer noch nicht das Telefon gefunden. So. What the heck's that huge thing back there? I think it's an incinerator. An incinerator? Why'd something like that be here? Weil das hier der Heizungskeller ist? Wo soll der sonst sein? In der Küche oder was? Maybe garbage trucks don't come all the way out here to a little mountain resort like this, so they have to burn their own trash. Since there are a lot of cables connected to it, they probably use the heat to generate additional electricity as well. I see. What exactly are you doing there? Just making sure there ain't nothing inside. Don't tell me you were expecting to find a burnt corpse inside the furnace. Doch. You never know. In crime stories, they often use incinerators to burn corpses and evidence, so... Just exactly what kind of people did she think this resort stuff were? Ja, was denkt sie von der Familie ihrer Freundin? Da oben sind noch ein paar Rohre. A tubing system containing electrical wires is running across the ceiling and through the walls, distributing the electricity that's... Genau, das haben wir schon mal gelesen, ne? Gut. Why hello there, you sexy ceiling light. Tell me, what do I need to turn you on? Oh Gott, das war... Boah, war der schlecht. Yeah, I guess I've done better. Dann haben wir hier noch irgendwie so einen Kasten. Oh my god, that's... Not a supercomputer with artificial intelligence that controls every electronic device inside this building. Oh, nut bunnies. It looks so futuristic, though. It's probably just some kind of generator. But I'm not techie, so I wouldn't know. Then maybe it is a supercomputer? At the very least, I can assure you that it's not. Apollo! Please turn the power back on! What are you doing? I'm trying to talk to the AI, but maybe it reacts to a different name. Hal? Come on, talk to me! Mother? Can you hear me? Please help us! She ain't responding! You bitch! Aha. Warum ist sie so dumm? This metal closet is identical to the one at the entrance. It's locked, so I can't peek inside and reach the cardboard box on top of it either. However, I doubt there's anything useful in there anyway. Aber da drunter vielleicht? Was ist hier? A rather empty shelf with a tool cart right next to it. Ja, guck mal, da können wir doch was finden, womit wir dann den Kasten aufmachen können. I guess we should be able to find something useful here. However, before that... What you doing crouching down there? It's possible my cell phone slid under this shelf, so I just wanted to check if that was the case. Oh, true that. So, like, can you see it? Well, it was a bit hard to make out due to the poor lighting conditions, but I could indeed see it. Was hätte denn dagegen gesprochen, erst das Licht wieder anzumachen und dann nach dem Handy zu suchen? Ich meine, dann hätte man das leichter gefunden. Unfortunately though, my cell phone wasn't the only thing beneath this shelf. There was a thick jungle of cobwebs flourishing down there, with a big black spider sitting right in the middle of it, relaxing on its fruits of its hard work. My phone had ended up directly behind it, after it had apparently crashed down by the cobweb on the right, leaving a big hole in it. Oh Gott, nein. Also das finde ich auch, ich habe sowieso voll die Angst vor Spinnen. Ich hasse Spinnen. Ich glaube, ich würde mein Handy dann da liegen lassen. Ohne Scheiß. Da fasse ich doch nicht hin. When Nobara crouched down next to me, she took a look for herself, seeing that spider naturally gave her quite the shock. She toppled backwards, landed on her butt, and slid back on all fours. Terror written all over her face, she once again hid behind me, her human shield. What the hell's that thing? A spider? That's the biggest, fattest monstrosity I've ever seen! If that thing's guarding your phone, I guess you can forget about it ever getting it back. Shit! I bet it can bite off your entire hand! Oh, come on. It's just a spider. Nein, es ist nicht. Es ist ekelhaft. Stop being overly dramatic. Here, look. It's not going to bite or anything. Sighing, I reached out to simply grab my cell phone from under the shelf. Seriously, Barra-chan. It was just a little spider, not a human-devouring monster. Und jetzt beißt sie dich, ne? A spider. Just a tiny little spider. Well, maybe not that tiny. It actually was rather big and hairy, with really long legs. Actually, I think my arm's not long enough to reach my phone. I should probably try using a stick or something. A really, really long stick. That would probably be better. Ja gut, da würde ich dann auch erstmal nach einem Stick suchen. Aber wo kriege ich jetzt einen Stick her? I already found my phone, so I can leave Mr. Copperpipe here alone. Aber da war doch auch... Woher nehme ich jetzt einen Stick? Kannst du den Kanister nehmen und da drunter... Gasoline Kanister. Whenever Barra-chan glances at it, the worry on her face intensifies. Ja, super. Und jetzt? Wo kriege ich einen Stick her? Den Besen. Komm, hier, nimm den Besen mit. Hey, that's it. That broom would be perfect. Yes, this was exactly what I had been looking for. This ultimate weapon in hand, I didn't hesitate and immediately returned to the shelf. Be careful! I will. Try not to rip them webs apart or that beast might get angry and attack us. I'm trying my best, but it would help if you would stop shaking so much. So sorry. Anyway, here goes. Cautiously, I slipped the stick end of the broom past the spider. With every slow and precise movement, I did my best not to come into contact with any of its webs. Trying not to alert it was quite a difficult and rather strenuous task, however, was auch immer das heißt. Nevertheless, after a good amount of sweat streamed down my forehead, I managed to press the stick against the backside of my phone. Carefully I tried sliding it towards us across the floor. It took quite a while, since I neither wanted to get any scratches on the screen, nor engage that enormous spider, but eventually... Alright, got it. That was close, man! You almost touched that thing! But I didn't. And all is well that ends well, right? I guess. My poor cell phone. Man, was I glad to have it back. And apart from some cobwebs, it thankfully hadn't sustained any critical damage. Well, looks like that spider's still snoring. Since you got your phone, let's just get away from here before it wakes up. Ja, aber erstmal brauchen wir noch das Werkzeug. Ah, come on. Even if it does, it's just a spider, so... Movement! Ja, es bewegt sich, oder was? Phew, I guess this was enough of a safe distance for Barra-chan to feel safe from that spider, of course. Ja, klar. Anyway, with my cell phone back in my possession, I put the broom back where it belonged before it was time to focus on our main objective again. Ja, genau. Wir müssen jetzt aber hier wieder nochmal hin, weil da ist... Okay, a screwdriver or something similar that would do the trick. While searching for that tool that matched the given criteria, I kept glancing over to the bottom of the shelf to my right every now and again. Just to make sure that Spider was still where it had last seen it. Ja, wisst ihr, das ist echt das Schlimmste. Nicht, wenn du weißt, dass da eine Spinne irgendwo ist und du siehst sie nicht. Wenn du schon mal, das ist das Schlimmste, wenn du eine Spinne irgendwo gesehen hast und sie ist nicht mehr da, wo du sie zuletzt gesehen hast. Dann hast du keine Ahnung, wo sie ist. Das ist das Schlimmste von allem. Luckily it didn't move at all. And luckily it didn't take me too long to find what I needed either. So I could get the hell away from there. Flathead Screwdriver acquired. So. So's. Dann können wir jetzt das Ding endlich aufmachen. Okay, here we go. I hope this works. Komm schon. Bingo. Well, it's open, but that's a lot of, you know, thingamabobs. Switches. Yes. How do you know which ones to push? Easy. As far as I can see, the main breaker switched off. So all we have to do is switch it back on. I'd assume that way the bus bar will be powered again, which in turn will activate all the individual branch circuit breakers. Whatever the hell that means. Let's just switch it back on then. Und es ward Licht. Miss Miyamoto, I think we're back in business. And no raptors to surprise us either. Warum sollten hier auch Raptoren sein? Looks like you're already feeling a little better, huh? Maybe. I mean, with them lights back on, the creepiness factor sure went down a little. Still, I ain't too keen on loitering around here much longer, so let's just get the hell out of here. Indeed. I'm freezing, and this already took long enough, so let's head back. Time to find out my deductions truly were correct. I hope they were. I still got this really weird feeling. I hope nothing bad happened to the others while we were gone. You're such a worrywart. Naja, das Ganze hier ist ein Murder-Mystery, deswegen denke ich mir schon, dass irgendwie noch was passieren muss. Sighing and shaking my head, I walked towards the metal door. I reached for the handle and hesitated. Something wrong? Yes, there was indeed something wrong. Earlier before we had even started Earlier, before we had even started looking around for my phone and the breaker box, Bara-chan had closed the door tightly. She might not have been able to actually lock it, but due to her fears of someone or being lurking in the corridor, of someone or something lurking in the corridor, a closed door had made her feel at least a little bit safer. Therefore, she wouldn't have opened it again. And I definitely hadn't touched it either. So then, why was it open a crack now? A crack wide enough for someone to peek through. Huh. Raiko-chan? I wrapped my hand around the cold handle and slowly pulled the door towards me. Jetzt kommt jemand und macht Buh oder so. Once it was wide open. Mika. Akku! Habe ich mir fast schon gedacht, dass sie das ist. Akku! Of course. Who else would secretly follow and observe us in a situation like this? While that little devil was busy bursting into her usual loud, irritating laughter, I tended to Bara-chan, who had dropped to the floor and was sitting there with gigantic eyes and a ghostly pale face. If things were going to continue like this, the poor thing was really going to die of a heart attack tonight. You okay? I think so. Mika! The hell's wrong with ya? Not even Mika knows. Anyway, looks like Mika wins. What? Raiko was twitching. Mika saw it. Mika saw it. Raiko got scared. I did not. Besides, wasn't your goal to shock me so much I'd cry out in torment and despair? Those were your exact words, and I certainly didn't do that just now. Details, details. Raiko was crying. Internally. Mika knows. Nein. Fine. Mika will let it slide this once. But next time Raiko will taste complete and utter defeat. We'll see about that. So, like, did you just come down here to scare us? Cool. Of course. Well, at least tell us what Rie's got up for up her sleeves then. Jetzt mal eine Frage, dieses Kuku und so. Macht die das eigentlich auch, wenn sie nicht dieses Kostüm trägt? Weil das ist echt weird. That's the least you can do for almost giving me a heart attack. Again? Cool. Hasn't Rie prepared something for us in the dining hall? Oh, that's what Raiko and Nobara are talking about. So, like, you're gonna tell us what it is? Mika doesn't know it, Mika doesn't care. Rie explained something to everyone, but Mika wasn't listening. Mika had to sneak out and follow Raiko and Nobara under the veil of darkness to execute her surprise attack. Not bunnies. Well, at the very least that confirms my deductions were right. I guess so. In any case, let's head back and find out ourselves then. Aight! A new diary has been entry has been added. When the three of us left the breakout room and stepped out into the corridor, it was still drenched in darkness. Thanks to our hard work, though, not a simple click of the light switch was enough to change that. Also, now, a simple click was good. Yes! This was much better. Without having to worry about bumping into any walls now, we began to move down the corridor following a blue carpet. Of course, along the way, we couldn't help but speculate about what Rie might have planned for us. Mika even purposed devising a counterattack in order to turn the tables on our host, however. I really don't think we should do that. A coup? Why not? You're serious? Kicking the sliding door in? Rie would murder us. Ja gut, alles zu zerstören ist nicht unbedingt immer die beste Lösung, ne? But no one will see it coming and they will all be totally shocked. Yeah, well, no shit. But still, we can't just... Didn't you guys hear that? Was? A coup? Hear what? I could have sworn I just heard. Ja! Was war das denn? What the heck was that? Wasn't that Carmen's voice? Achso, dann muss das anders klingen, dann muss das ja! So klingen. I think so. Yes. Even though that scream had come from pretty far away and had therefore been rather muffled, that definitely sounded like Carmen. However, why would she scream like that? You think something happened? A coup? Ja, und was ist mit dem Perversling? Der ist doch auch irgendwie bewusstlos geworden oder so. Maybe this is already part of Rie's plan to shock us. I don't know. All I can say is that I don't like it. Well, no point in standing here trying to figure out. Let's just go take a look. Also, das richtige Timing hätte sie auf jeden Fall schon. Alleine dadurch, dass sie ja gesehen hat, dass die Lichter angegangen sind, konnte sie sich denken, wo wir ungefähr sind, dass sie losschreien muss. Ne? Raiko-chan! Wait! Ja. As I darted down the hallway, I could hear the footsteps of the others behind me. They didn't waste much time and immediately chased after me, running as fast as their legs could carry them. While we shot down the corridor, we heard another scream. The first one had definitely been Carmen. But this one? Runa? Just what in the world was going on here? Also those screams. They weren't coming from the floor above us. No. It sounded more like they were coming from even farther away. Like the second floor. But why would Carmen and Runa even be there? And more importantly, what would cause them to let out such a blood-curdling screams in the first place? Was this really just part of Rie's plan to scare us? Oder passiert jetzt die Mörder-Action? Whatever the case, I didn't want to jump to any conclusions. Even if it meant falling right into Rie's trap, I had to take a look first. I certainly wasn't going to take any risks due to false assumptions. Not again. Besides, maybe it was because of Bara-chan and her non-stop worrying, but I somehow had a really bad feeling about this. We rushed up the stairs as fast as we could, taking 2 steps at a time. Ignoring the first floor, I continued upstairs, heading directly for the second. Bara-chan and Mika followed hard on my heels. When we finally reached it... Yeah... The ceiling lights were shining brightly. So someone definitely had to be up here. After climbing the last couple of steps, I stopped for a second and trying to catch my breath. As I did, I glanced down the hallway, hoping to get a glimpse of what was going on. And sure enough, right there in the middle of the corridor, I could see something. 3 people were standing in front of one of the many guest rooms. A white-haired boy in a vampire suit, a girl with a cape and witch hat, and another girl in a white kimono. Hiro, Carmen und Runa. Ja. Und da in dem Raum ist jetzt eine Leiche drin. When Bara-chan and Mika caught up with me, we quickly sprinted towards them. However, once I got close enough to see their faces, I noticed the sheer horror and disbelief that was burned onto them. This can't be. How? How did this... Why? This wasn't supposed to happen. This wasn't supposed to... Was denn? No, this can't be... This cannot... As the strength vanished from her legs, Runa collapsed to her knees. Tears were forming in the corners of her eyes and running down her cheeks as her hands... No, her entire body was trembling. Meanwhile, Hiro and Carmen stood there, not moving an inch or paying any attention to her. Also das scheint nicht mehr wirklich dazu zu gehören, zu dem, was sie vorbereitet haben, denn ich glaube nicht, dass man so einen Ohnmachtsanfall einfach so vortäuschen kann. Like two lifeless statues, they simply kept staring at the open guest room in front of them. It didn't even seem like any of them had noticed our arrival yet. As Barachan, Mika and I moved closer, they didn't turn their heads. It was though their widened eyes were glued to whatever was in front of them. Ja komm, was ist denn da jetzt? They kept staring into that guest room in a daze. Almost as though they were hypnotized, with their expressions frozen in eternal despair. Upon seeing them like this, a familiar feeling of dread began welling up inside me. Driven by her curiosity, Mika stepped forward, trying to take a look at whatever the others were so horrified by, and after some hesitation, Barachan followed suit. I wanted to take a look too. However, some inner voice was warning me not to, as though it already knew I was going to regret it. In the end, however, my own curiosity won over any subconscious fears I had. Almost on its own, my body moved forwards. Since the others were standing in the way, and I was rather small, I had to get on my toes to be able to glance over their shoulders. Nevertheless, I was able to get a good glimpse at what was terrifying them so much. There, among the darkness, right in the middle of that guest room, Momoko. Die hängt da, ne? Momoko. That was Momoko. My own eyes widened in shock as my right hand instinctively covered my mouth. Momoko. Her face was mostly hidden beneath her pink-colored hair, so all I could see was her open mouth, which was contorted into a silent scream, saliva dripping from her lips. Below it I noticed something slung around her neck. It seemed like a rope. Yes, a red rope. One of its ends was stretching down from the ceiling, while the other was tied into a noose holding her neck in a tight grasp. Her arms were lifelessly dangling down her sides, moving in a slight motion, together with the rest of her body. A slow swinging motion from left to right, like a pendulum. Gut, das klingt für mich jetzt gerade so, als hätte sich jemand an der Geistergeschichte von Hiro orientiert. Und das umgesetzt. Vielleicht sogar Hiro selber, der scheint mir nämlich jetzt sehr verdächtig dadurch. A slow swinging motion from left to right, like a pendulum. As I felt the strength draining from my toes, I sank back to my feet. Speechless, I turned into just another statue like everyone else. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to think. My mind was completely blank. Just what in the world had happened here? Okay, jetzt geht's erst richtig los. Chapter 3. Isolation. Tja. Das sieht nicht so aus, als ob es alles geplant war, ne? Und wo sind die anderen? Frozen in place, unable to move even an inch of their bodies, a group of 6 people were gathered in the center of the second floor hallway, just standing there surrounded by silence. An overwhelming, unbearable silence. None of them said a word. None of them even made the faintest of sounds. They were too taken aback, too devastated to get out even a single word. But words weren't necessary. Their expressions alone were saying far more than any amount of words could have. Shock, terror, disbelief, sadness, pain, despair. Their expressions were distorted by a number of emotions as they kept staring ahead. staring through the open door into the guest room in front of them. Auf die Leiche. Momoko. 6 pairs of widened eyes were directed at this horrible sight. How? Just how in the world could this have happened? Happy Halloween! Yo, Momo-chan! Sup? And Happy Halloween to you too! Thanks. Dabei hatten die doch gerade noch entschlossen, dass sie sich öfter unterhalten wollen, ne? Hero? Stop it! I told you not to say such weird things in front of the others. Why not? It's the truth. It's embarrassing. Ja, aber zwischen denen war die Beziehung ja gar nicht so gut, ne? Oh my. Raiko-chan, I only realized now. Those ears, they look so cute. Can I touch them? Irgendwie müssten die sich ja aufgeteilt haben, damit sowas passiert sein kann. You two are a fun duo. It's too bad we never talked like this before. I really regret that now. If you feel that way, we just gotta talk a shit ton starting now. Never too late to change stuff like that. We're classmates after all. We'll get a lot of more chances to talk, right? Just gonna have to use them. That would be nice. A bunch of images kept flashing past my mind's eye. Moments, entire scenes, memories of tonight. Of just a short while ago. They made it even harder to accept the cruel reality before me. To accept the surreal sight. Yet there was no denying the harsh truth right in front of us. Ja, sie ist tot, ne? When I managed to overcome the initial shock, I clenched my fists and slowly rose back to my toes. Petrified Hero and Kamen were still standing in front of me like an immovable wall. Peeking over their shoulders, I could see her though. Momoko. I just couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. That this cute, cheerful girl, who had been fooling around in our presence only a short while ago, that she was now hanging there, her lifeless body faintly moving from side to side, kept afloat in this bizarre swinging motion by a red rope pulling at her neck. There was no sign of life emanating from her. If someone would have cut that rope, or if it had suddenly ripped apart for whatever reason, her body would have slumbered over, dropping like a rock, slamming onto the floor with a loud thud. Picturing this in my mind made me feel a cold shiver climbing up my spine, spreading its wings across my shoulders. Momoko. Was she really? We have to get her down! Now! Ja, und? Her voice violently tore us out of our trance-like status, letting the flow of time continue at its quick, unrelenting pace. What had seemed like an eternity had... Was? What had seemed like an eternity had... Ach so. What had seemed like an eternity had in reality only been mere moments since our arrival. Ich finde das komisch. Die Zeichensetzung finde ich gerade komisch. And it was only now that I realized she was right. Momoko's body was still moving. It was still moving in a slight swinging motion, so it couldn't have been that long since. Maybe it's not too late. We have to get her down. Now. Yeah, you're right. You there. Without moving an inch, Hiro threw a glance over his shoulder directly at me. The shock that had been tearing at his face just a moment ago was now replaced by a surge of grave urgency. Go call an ambulance! And tell Rie what happened here! She's still downstairs in the dining hall! Get her, quick! Yes. In the meantime, I'll try to get her down. I'll help you. While Hiro and Kamen moved into the guest room in order to take care of Momoko, I quickly turned around to the others. What came to my attention first was Runa. She was cowering on the floor, still frozen in time. The sheer horror on her face couldn't even be described in words. Mika, you take care of Runa. Aku! Bara-chan, we'll go look for a phone and call an ambulance. Wait a sec. What? Can't you just use your cell? No, I can't. Why not? Keine Empfang, immer noch nicht. There's no cell phone reception out here in the mountains. It's stated in the pamphlet Rie gave us, and I confirmed it myself when we were into the basement earlier. We have no choice but to find a telephone. Oh, but where? Boah, wo können wir ein Telefon finden? Ich würde sagen, am ehesten in der Rezeption, oder? Kann ich jetzt nicht speichern? Ich würde jetzt ganz gerne speichern. Ich würde sagen an der Rezeption, ne? Yeah! Of course the reception would have one. Let's go! With that settled, there was no more time to lose. Everyone knew what they had to do, and so with Hiro and Kamen taking care of Momoko and Mika kneeling beside the paralyzed Runa, Bara-chan and I took off as fast as we could to fulfill our own assignment. Das Spiel hat mehrere Endings, soweit ich weiß, und ich weiß nicht, ob es da sowas gibt wie eine Flowchart, wo man wieder einsteigen kann im Notfall, falls man eine andere Entscheidung treffen wollte. Bara-chan and I took off as fast as we could to fulfill our own assignment, and we had to hurry. Maybe there was still a chance. As we dashed back towards the staircase, a dozen of things kept rushing through my mind. Even if we had found her in time and Hiro was able to get her down there, this whole scenario wouldn't be without consequences. People who survived an attempt at hanging themselves usually suffered several severe injuries. In the worst cases, even permanent brain damage. So even if Momoko was still alive, there was a high chance that she... No. I didn't even want to think that far. For now, all that mattered was to get help. That was all I had to focus on. So I jumped down the steps at an incredible speed, and within moments... Hey, there she is! Rie. When we arrived at the bottom of the staircase, Bara-chan pointed down the hallway. There in the distance we could see Rie, who had just left the dining hall. When she noticed Bara-chan and me, she came immediately sprinting towards us, a big question mark lighting above her head. Nobara-chan! Raiko-chan? Raiko-nyan? What the hell happened? Where did everyone run off to? And what was it with those screams? What's going on here? Curses, there was no time for this. Right behind us was the reception door. So ignoring all her questions, I quickly turned around, grabbed the handle and threw it open. After hitting the light switch, the room lit up and I jumped right into its center, frantically looking around. However, where is it? Curses, where is it? I couldn't see a phone anywhere. I would have assumed it to be sitting on the reception center, but... What's gotten into you all of a sudden? And who do you need to call anyways? Don't tell me you want your parents to come and take you back home. Not our parents! An ambulance! An ambulance? Did someone get hurt? Nee, jemand ist gestorben. Momoko! She hanged herself! What? Ja, auch wenn ich nicht sicher bin, ob sie sich selbst aufgehängt hat oder von jemandem aufgehängt wurde. While Bara-chan tried explaining the situation, I kept desperately searching for a phone. There wasn't anything even remotely resembling one on the counter, so where was it? As I turned around to ask Rie, she... Ha! Suddenly burst into loud laughter. When I looked at her face, there was not a hint of panic or urgency to be found. On the contrary, she showed us a huge grin before narrowing her eyes in suspicion. Nice try, you two, but you won't get me that easily. What you talking about? You can drop the act. I won't fall for this. Du zerstörst gerade eventuell die letzte Hoffnung, die noch besteht, um sie am Leben zu erhalten. We ain't joking about this. Yeah, you really thought this would work. Although I gotta admit, you almost had me there for a second. You've gotten some nice acting skills. Maybe you should consider joining the drama club. Rie, this is not a joke. Now tell me, where is the accursed phone? What do you mean, where is it? It's right... She turned around to the counter and to show me where it was, but... It's gone? What do you mean it's gone? Also irgendjemand wollte unbedingt dafür sorgen, dass man auch keinen Krankenwagen rufen kann. How are we gonna call an ambulance? How are we gonna call an ambulance then? Guys, this seriously isn't funny anymore. I would have expected this kind of stuff from Mika, but not from you two. Curses, no matter what we said, it looked as though she didn't want to believe us. Was she really thinking that we were trying to play a prank on her? To be quite honest, from the moment we had heard those screams, I had taken into consideration that it might have been the other way around. That all of this was part of Rie's Halloween program for tonight, the surprise she had been preparing for us. However, in a scenario like this, one had to assume the worst and act accordingly. I had learned that the hard way and knew all too well the consequence of misinterpreting a situation like this, of putting it off as a joke. And I certainly didn't want to commit the same mistake twice. Okay. Welches, wie musstest du das schon mal den Hard Way lernen? Was meinst du damit gerade? Therefore, despite my suspicions, I had treated this seriously. But I guess now we had confirmation. Even though part of me was still hoping for this to be just a morbid prank, and that she was still merely pretending to be clueless, it was pretty clear now that wasn't the case. Rie wasn't this good of an actress. I could tell that she was generally confused right now and that she had no idea what had happened upstairs. Yes, she was neither acting nor lying to us, but how were we going to convince her that we weren't lying either? As long as she was considering this to be a joke, this conversation wasn't going to get us anywhere. And we needed to find a phone. Right now. Rie, come on, we're serious. This is not a joke. I swear. There's no time to lose. We need to call an ambulance, quick. Would you stop that already? You're really starting to freak me out, you know? Just drop the act and tell me what you did with the phone. Curses, what did I have to do to make her believe me? Oh, it's here! Found it! I glanced over at Barra-chan, who was standing behind the counter pointing to the floor. Rie and I leaned over to the reception desk to take a look for ourselves, and it is kaput. There it was. The phone! It was lying on the floor for whatever reason. The cord cut. Oh shit! What the hell, guys? If Dad finds out about this, he's gonna strangle me. Who would freaking cut the cord and throw the phone behind the counter like that? Raiko? This isn't funny. Wir haben doch schon gesagt, dass es kein Scherz ist. I felt something seal off my throat. I tried to swallow, but I couldn't. The cord was cleanly cut. There was no way the phone could have just fallen off the desk by accident and ended up like this, so... If there had still been any lingering doubts as to whether this was all part of Rie's Halloween program or not, they would have now been shattered into a million pieces. Aber das, finde ich, sind auch alles Indizien dafür, dass Momoko sich nicht selbst erhängt hat, sondern erhängt wurde. Weil jemand unbedingt sicher gehen wollte, dass sie stirbt. There's gotta be a force somewhere else though, right? Sure. But seriously, guys, tell me, that whole thing about Momoko, you just made that up, right? Do you honestly believe that Raiko-chan of all people would joke about something like this? She had nothing to respond with. Warum soll das heißen, Raiko of all people? Also, gibt's bei ihr schon so Probleme irgendwie? Overcome with silence, she found herself in the same position I had been a moment ago. Hoping for us to tell her any second now that all of this was just a tasteless joke. However, by looking deep into my eyes, she seemed to realize that this wasn't going to happen. Rie! A phone, damn it! Yes, of course. We can just use the one in Dad's office. Just follow. You can forget about the phone now. Wer sagt das? When we turned around and looked at the door leading to the corridor, we saw Mika standing there, an unusual grim expression on her face. This might have actually been the first time I had ever seen her so serious. Momoko is dead. Tja. Her words hit us in the gut. And once again we froze, turning into statues of despair. Whatever it was that clogged my throat began to grow even larger. There was no reason to doubt her words. As much as I wished for it to be just another one of her attempts to scare me, another sick, twisted lie just to get this reaction out of me, she's the one she had been aiming for the whole night. Even Mika wasn't the kind of person to joke about a matter such as this. No, she really was dead serious. Momoko is dead. The words kept echoing through my head. Momoko is dead. Again and again. Momoko was dead. I closed my eyes and tried taking a deep breath. This couldn't be happening. Momoko, this was impossible. She couldn't be. That can't be! Mika, tell me that's not true. Mika doesn't lie. But if you don't want to believe Mika, why don't you go take a look yourselves? Mika will stay here and wait for Runa, though. Runa? Runa wasn't feeling well. And because the restrooms upstairs are locked, Mika accompanied Runa down here. I see. Well, Runa had looked extremely pale when Bara-chan and I had left in search for a phone, which wasn't really surprising given the circumstances. I guess hearing that Momoko was actually dead had tripped her over the edge. In any event, Bara-chan, Rie and I didn't need much time to decide on what to do next. Rushing past Mika, we left the reception and headed straight for the stairs. New notebook has been new diary entry. Okay, wir gehen wieder zurück in den Second Floor und ich würde sagen, an dieser Stelle sehen wir uns dann beim nächsten Mal wieder. Bis dann, Leute. Ciao.